All right, welcome to a track guide for mosport. This will be the first race of the season. So I'm just going to play the onboard, then talk about it, and then I'll take another lap around with the offboard or just a chase view. All right, so there's a lap around mosport. So let's do that again, but slow it down a little bit here. So coming on to the first lap, I'm going to slow it down here. Your turn entry point, kind of right after this little mark in the pavement here. Maybe a car or two length, and then you start turning in just slightly on the brakes just to get that weight transfer onto the nose a little bit. There's just minimal braking, back on throttle. Try to get this car between this like concrete part and then onto this curbing. You can get these tires right up onto the curbing, no problem. And then you just want to brush out a little wide onto the curbing here just to try to carry as much momentum as possible. Coming up into turn two, so you're going above into a blind crest. Basically, you're kind of using this as your reference point. So you want to turn in, you want to get really tight to the apex on the entry. So just braking slightly, turning in here, trying to get as close as possible, just putting that weight on the front. Get right up onto this here. You see that the cutout in the pavement? There's a drop off after this. So if you're too wide after the drop off, you're just going to kind of go off the track. So if you're nice and tight here after the drop off, it'll just kind of push you into the middle of the track. Right here, see that drop off, and then come right back to the middle here and hug it tight. You can maybe get away with keeping it in fifth. I haven't optimized anything. As with all the track guides, this is my first few laps. So I usually gain between half a tenth to a second, depending on track conditions and everything. But yeah, you definitely want to either fourth or fifth. I'm not 100% sure yet. But this is the line you want to kind of come nice and tight out of here. And then I'll wash you out. Not fully across the track, but you can kind of come maybe a car's width of that. Next corner here, you're kind of looking at these tire marks for a braking reference. I don't actually brake at these tire marks. I actually brake further, but a lot of cars, these are the ones I use. With this car, you can brake a lot later. So I'm just kind of looking at these as a reference, and then I'm braking maybe a car further than that. I'm getting onto the brakes here, actually pretty much at the marks, just about 50%. You just want to get it turned in. And there's kind of like the apex is pretty much a little bit before it starts going downhill. So you can see I'm already getting on power quite a bit here. I just slowed it down enough to get that front end to bite. And once I get that front end to bite with these cars, I'm back on full power. Not full power, but almost. And I'm right up against kind of this curb in here. So you're kind of wanted to get two tires on right at the end of these candy canes curbs here. and then you're pretty much going full power, and you're going to wash out all the way to the end of this curb in here. You'll see the curb and starts there, but you pretty much get to it right as it kind of starts, and then go across track. So you kind of start turning in before this Continental sign. You do not need to brake for this corner, just all out. Kind of holding it nice and tight here because it drops off. If you're too wide to the right and you drop off, it'll push you right off kind of track. Coming to this one here, this is a big braking zone. You want to use this uphill part as hard as possible. You'll see I'll get very hard on the brakes, close to 100%, if not 100%. And then you want to hug these candy stripe curbs here. So see here, hard on the brakes. As I'm getting up here, lifting off, I'm going to get these tires here pretty as close as I can to this curbing, and you kind of have to balance. See, you notice I hit the throttle a little bit here. That's just to kind of balance the car out a little bit and trying to push it out a little bit wider because you want to get close to these curbing to get the right turn in for this. You can see I'm kind of doing both. I'm just trying to catch the car because I think I start losing it a little bit. So the rear end starts coming out here a little bit, and I get back on throttle, bounce it out. So ideally, you kind of want to get a little bit wider than what I was here, and then you turn in from this curb and kind of, you see there's like almost a triangle, very, obviously the angle is not very strong there, but kind of right about here. That's where you turn in with this line, and then you'll get really close to this curb in here. You see I start losing the rear end, turn back on throttle, and then you'll want to come out nice and wide here just to carry as much speed out as possible. Carry the momentum. Stay to the right for this track. That's kind of where you want to make the shortest track possible. We're going to come all the way to the right here, then we're going to start going to the left. This corner here, you pretty much start turning in. You basically want to hit the curbing on the first curbing, and then go maybe a car's width wide in between, and then come right back to the curbing. So you'll see here, turning in, a little bit of braking just to get that front end back on throttle, just kind of then back on the brakes a little bit, getting this right two tires onto this curbing. That opens up this next line. I kind of turned in a little bit early, but it works too. Two tires on that curbing. A little bit of braking, turn in for this next one nice and early. And again, just lightly clipping those, and then off you go. So I set it 132.6, track conditions. So I put it on generate weather for this series, so it's going to be a little bit all over the place. Sometimes it might be different, but it'll change it up. It'll be fun. So partly cloudy, 21 degrees, air temp, 27 degrees, track temp. All right, so let's go to the chase view. Our chase. And we will play this lap and then we'll close it out. And there you go. That's a track guide for race number 1.